There is a Kamen Rider fan game out there, a visual novel, and it starts off normal. It's a sunny day, and you're an average office worker, trying to get through the week. Your friend Vivi calls you, asking if you want to check out a new cafe that just opened. And you slowly figure out that you live in a world, inspired by Kamen Rider and Tokusatsu series, where monsters exist. Silly, funny monsters, though, that easily get defeated by this world's version of the Kamen Rider. The cafe that you're going to? It's the new Kamen Rider cafe that opened. The same one that you went to with Vivi for her birthday. You meet up with Vivi at the Kamen Rider cafe. She's already ordered everything and started without you. But you're fine with that. And she's paying. You engage in some mundane talk about how your life's going, even though you're truly unhappy with it all, but you can't find yourself to bring it up with Vivi. She notices how depressed you've been lately, and tries to cheer you up, showing off her new Kamen Rider merch. She's a huge fan of him, after all. He is saving the day, every day, from these monsters that may not terrorize people, but they surely annoy people. You aren't so sure about your opinion of him, though, as, even though he is a hero, you don't really know him. You don't know his identity. You don't know if he's really in it for the goodness of his heart. But Vivi feels a special connection to him nonetheless. He gives her hope in this seemingly hopeless world. And that's when you start to notice that she looks haggard, skinnier, tired. Her eyes are bleak and dead. And you start to realize that she feels the same way that you do, isn't comfortable enough to bring it up to you. And that's why she confides in the hope that this world's Kamen Rider brings to her. But just as you're about to ask her if something's wrong, this happens. And this is the point where everything changes for you. For whatever reason, this world's monsters are not so funny, harmless, cute, and cuddly anymore. It's no longer the type of situation that you would see in your Sunday morning TV show. Vivi's dead. You get saved by some mysterious figure that swoops you up and takes you to an empty building. And that's when you encounter one of these monsters for the first time. From here on, every decision that you make can either help you progress the story, or kill you and leave you with the same fate that Vivi had. This is Last Rider, the Kamen Rider fan game that doesn't exist yet. But there does exist a now privated version of the demo on the internet somewhere. Hey, if you don't know me, I'm Jen, and I made Last Rider for a college class. It's been a while since I've talked about the project or even mentioned it really, so I didn't want people to think that I've forgotten about it, and I was actually reminded of it due to a Spanish-speaking Tokutuber named President Genmu who tweeted on X about how he had found the game while researching for a Kamen Rider Iceberg video that he was working on. And I saw that his initial tweet talking about it actually got a lot of interaction, and back when I first announced it and was talking about making it, I also received a lot of love. So I'm here today to talk about what's going on, what progress I've made, the future of the project in its whole. But before that, I feel like we do have to talk about the origins, the backstory of it all. So Last Rider is kind of a consolidation of my content creation journey in making Kamen Rider related content on TikTok, my longtime interest in horror, and my desire to make a visual novel game and just generally learn the skills to use Ren'Py. The idea kind of started from a series of kaijin monster drawings that I did randomly just as practice. I decided to take my interest in horror and my interest in Kamen Rider and kind of reimagine a bunch of different characters or kaijin from various series and just draw them in a very grotesque way. You can definitely see my inspiration from games such as Fear and Hunger in these drawings, generally just the style of it and everything else. The character Vivi that you see in the demo is also from a previous project that I did. It was for a animation class. It was for one of the first art classes that I took in college, and at the time, I was really into ARG series such as Lacey's Games, so I kind of used it as an exercise to make something similar to that. The full video of that exists somewhere on YouTube if you would like to watch that for whatever reason, but yeah, I decided to reuse Vivi as a character since I already kind of had a design and assets for her. And in full, I kind of just wanted to explore whatever themes have really stuck with me throughout watching Kamen Rider throughout like the past 8 years. I feel like the overwhelming concept of hope in such terrible situations and combining that with over the top horror and occasionally gore would be interesting to see. And generally, a lot of my inspirations for the project are coming from games that I've played and enjoyed. I mentioned Fear and Hunger, DDLC, Totono, Needy Streamer Overload, and there was a video from Super Eye Patch Wolf that really stuck out to me and has motivated me to make a lot of projects. It was his video on fake games, essentially, where artists tend to draw or conceptualize these fake games and create lore and world building, and even though they aren't actual games that you can play, the idea of it is so fleshed out that you can basically just like feel it through the screen. But yeah, all of that aside, what's up with the project? Is it still going? Am I still going to make it? And the answer is yes. As for reasons to why there hasn't really been any word of me working on it or just anything about it really is, well, for one, I'm still in college and I still have 1 semester left until I graduate. So obviously I'm busy working on graduating. I have a capstone project that I'm working on. I've been streaming me working on it every week. It's a virtual fashion collection based off of Kamen Rider. And it's going to be in augmented reality. You can wear these outfits that I've designed on Snapchat and TikTok as filters. But yeah, obviously, I'm really busy with that, for one. Second, I've actually been taking classes to prepare myself to make the full game. A lot of literature classes, play analysis classes, things like that, just so I can actually understand not only the aspects of making a game, but making a decent story that actually makes sense, hits the right beats, is actually structured properly. And obviously, since the demo, I've evolved so much as both a person and an artist, so really, pretty much everything is getting reworked from the ground up. The story, the characters, the art. What you saw in the demo is probably it's gonna be nothing like that in the end, aside from the general vibes and aesthetic. Obviously, that's not gonna change. And ultimately, when it comes to me making art, the thing with my art is that everything kind of feeds off of each other. Like, I have to keep making art in order to keep making art. As you saw, we started from the sketches, and then from the previous project that I did with Vivi, made something out of that, and then now I'm working off of what I did before and making something better based off of that. So yeah, it's kind of just a matter of me needing time, needing to prepare myself, and wanting to have more experience before I jump in and make something that could potentially be like really big for me as an artist and a content creator. But obviously, I'm sure you're wondering what specifically is going to change from the demo to the final game, and it's going to be a lot. First of all, the intro sequence is probably going to be entirely different. When I made the demo, that was for a class, and I had to have everything completed within the semester, and actually less than the semester, because usually in my major, at least, every semester we have an exhibition, and so I was supposed to basically finish everything and have it ready for the exhibition like a month before the semester ended, and it had to be working, at least, enough for it to be exhibited for people. And as a result, due to the fact that exhibiting a visual novel is incredibly hard, most people are not going to stand in place for hours at a time to play something at an art exhibition. They want to keep moving and like actually see everything. Everything was very rushed, and so there wasn't really time for the story to breathe or for things to build up, because there is a point where people are going to get bored and just walk away. So the intro is going to be completely different in the sense that it is going to be somewhat more of a build up until the horrors happen. And obviously that's where my inspiration from DDLC is going to come in, because in the game, you spend like an hour or so with all of the characters before anything bad happens. Second is figuring out the aspect of gamification. And by that, I mean, am I going to keep it purely visual novel, or am I going to include more interactive sections where maybe there's like a mini game or RPG sections or whatever? And this is something that I've been really grappling with in recent months, because I honestly don't know. I feel like it would be worth it to maybe put out like a poll or something and see what people are interested in, but I feel like there's like a sense of purism when it comes to visual novel games, where some people will want it to just be a visual novel, and that's fine, but I guess it really just depends on how good the story itself is and if that's able to carry everything. Third aspect that I'm wanting to work on is figuring out what the main character really represents as a person. In the demo, I kind of wrote the main character as representing sort of the everyman, but also having a sense of innate selfishness and wanting to survive even at the cost of potentially betraying people or putting other people in harm's way, depending on your choices. But when I really think about it, it really could go either way. We could keep him as sort of this bland self-insert that can go through major emotional character development depending on your choices, or should he be an already fully fleshed out character that will go through major developmental changes regardless of whether or not you go through certain paths in the game. I guess it's a matter of figuring out whether I want to have a sense of relatability, or if I want to make the main character his or her own character. And lastly, the biggest issue is maintaining scope. I don't want to promise anything grand if I know that I can't actually deliver on it, and I feel like that's the biggest problem when it comes to indie games, especially solo indie games. I know that something like a 40-hour epic tale is really not within my scope, and I would never want to promise that and then not deliver. So I'm trying to figure out what a good balance is for being able to tell a short story, but also being able to tell one that's effective and gets all of my points across, and maybe it has potential to be built upon in the future. So instead of having something that's gonna rival the length of a 50 episode show, maybe it could just be like a 3 to 5 hour story that gives you a glimpse into this world and gives you all of the major points that I'm trying to address, but it's ultimately not a full look into this world and story and plot that I have been building. And that isn't to say that after it releases, I'm never going to revisit the idea, or even maybe we can make like DLC for it, for example. It's just a matter of what will be there on launch. So, ultimately, what is the final plan for all of this, and how's it all gonna come together? Well, first of all, I do not plan on working on it entirely until I am graduated. I want this to be a postgraduate project, not just because I'm busy with my capstone project as of now, but also because, well, I feel like once I graduate, I want this to be like my next step forward as an artist. The biggest thing is, what price will it release for? And I think at this point, I am pretty dead set on the fact that I don't actually plan to release this at a price. And I know what you're thinking, but I feel like it's, for one, this is ultimately just another art project for me, really. It's one that I'm going to put a lot of time into, but I don't really make my art for the purpose of selling it. Is it nice if it generates me money? Sure, which is why I'm going to go based on like a pay as you want or a donation type of structure, but ultimately I don't want it to motivate me to finish it, really. I want people who play it to decide whether or not it was worth their time, worth their effort in going through the entire thing. And obviously, this all ties into the fact that I want an overall small scope on this. And if it is successful, then maybe we can continue it. Maybe we can do side projects that take place in the same world, like a webtoon or a web series or just anything, really. And ultimately, I feel like we might need a new title or just a new way that we refer to Kamen writers in the game without dealing with copyright stuff. So yeah, if you're interested, then definitely stay tuned. Feel free to maybe give suggestions or link me to any references that I might find interesting or that would be useful in this scenario. And yeah, once I graduate this December, we will start seeing more content relating to this whole thing, more updates, as I start really diving in and making this my new passion project to focus on.